welcome to the third episode of Ashley Haden's Political Breakdown. It's a self-indulgent show where I talk shit with some people about a week's news because there's so much happening and we miss it. So this week with me I have
Daniel Cadey
and
Chester Constable.
So that's it. You know, let's say, you know, it's been a busy week. So let's start. Who's got news to start? Anyone? Dan, what's your news?
I've started using moisturiser.
Fantastic. I said to you beforehand when I said about the news. I said exactly before we started. Let's actually bring the news. I don't give a fuck about your day. You notice I didn't start by asking how are you doing. I don't care. We're not here for how you're doing.
I thought I'd bring some good news rather than just the general.
I didn't ask for that.
All right then. Right, so the usual
That's
stuff
enough for you,
then.
Chester.
Well, do we? Because I've watched the other two, and do we get Brexit out of the way? Do we do the standard 10-minute
Fine
on Brexit?
Fine, if we must.
I feel like we have to.
What?
So what's happening this week then?
So it's been extended, hasn't it? It's been the
Oh
deal.
no, because they haven't agreed.
No. I assumed it was going that way.
No, because Theresa May has sent a letter to Tusk asking for an extension, although that hasn't been agreed yet. The extension she's asking is the 30th of June.
Yes.
Which they originally offered, but didn't they? And then she said no, and now she's come back saying, and they've said, oh, well, we could do it for another year if you come back with something serious. And she's gone, well, actually, no, 30th of June would be good. And they're like, has anything changed? It's like, no. Oh, cool. Then probably not.
Yeah. Do we think they're actually going to give an extension to the 30th of June, or as you say, are they going to extend it for a year?
Well, isn't it France, Belgium, and is Germany as well? But there's a few now just saying, well, what is the point?
Yeah.
We need something more definite. If there was a hint that something might happen, then I think they would possibly go for the year. But they're just pushing it back, sort of like by the month.
I get the impression they want them to take that extension because of the European elections. I seem to get the impression they want them to participate in the European elections.
In the letter that May sent over to Tusk, it says that they are starting to prepare for the European elections as a just-in-case thing. Because the 30th of June, the reason for that date is the day after the MEPs actually sit. So they all turn up after having their fun. Oh, look at us, we won. Laura, if we do the European elections, how do you see it going? Is it going to be UKIP all over? Is Remain going to stand up, and we're going to have lots of Europhiles in? How do you see it going?
Well, surely whoever gets in, I mean, that job will be an absolute DOS because it's like giving in your notice and then just messing around for a year.
Well, I mean, that's.
Are they going to be just photocopying their arse all the time and ruining everybody else's work day to day?
I mean, they'll probably be more useful than Farage.
That's kind of what Jacob Rees-Mogg has said, that he tweeted on his ever-entertaining Twitter account, basically, if we do have to put anyone up, we should destroy it from the inside. Like, nice one. So that's another reason why they're saying, well, we probably won't give you the extension.
And he's publicly said that as well. He's publicly said we're going to destroy it from the inside.
Do you think
what
any
a terrible
of them
villain!
remember?
What a rubbish villain!
Do you think any of them actually remember that not only do the rest of Europe speak English, but they also have access to Twitter? And they watch the Houses of Commons. So in the Commons, when they're going along and going, oh yeah, well we should just fuck them. They're all being little cunts. We should fuck them over. No one turns around and says, you know, they can see this.
But that's what they want, isn't it? Because they'd rather us just sort of like get out. They'd rather just that hard Brexit or just like no deal. Like, so just basically, if I tweet this, there's less chance they're going to give any sort of extension. Yeah, it will just get chucked out, and then we can start with the new age, which is not.
The new age, which is I think is Victorian.
I read a very patronising BBC article because I had to brush up on my Brexit.
Yeah,
and it was the top 10 ways in which Brexit might affect me, and the first thing that came up was the price of fruit and veg will go up. And I went, no. But then that article came out this week about how it's the risk of cancer or heart attacks is not because of calorie intake. It's not about how much you weigh. It's actually about how much fruit and veg you eat. You need to eat a lot more fruit and veg.
So it's just a lot more expensive.
Yeah, so I think two things are happening at the same time. There, a story has come out that we need fruit and veg, and we're going to have to pay a lot more to get it.
To make it even better with the whole costs, on Wednesday was the National Everything Gets More Expensive Day.
Was it?
Yeah. So everything, like food prices, are rising at the fastest pace of more than 5 years, mainly owing to last year's extreme weather and the cost of food going all over with import costs.
How much are Chicago Town frozen pizzas? Do you have that?
I do not have that. For some reason, I didn't look into that.
Is that how you're getting your fruit and veg?
I just like.
Is there a lot of fruit?
Yeah,
are you really hard going in on the tomatoes of fruit?
True, but yeah, well, I read those 10 things.
Peaches
frozen pizza
dessert.
wasn't one of the things that was going up. So I was like, well, you know.
I mean, I've missed a
don't
lot
see-
of this because I've got £26.44 on my co-op card. So I think I've only had it since December. So I mean, you know.
Does that mean you're spending a lot at co-op?
Yeah, because already the fruit and veg is extortionate in there. But I'm just saving, and I just don't know when to. I can't spend it now.
I do think.
Is this part of the news that you wanted?
No, that's
Again,
fantastic. That's
it is
absolutely
good.
fine. I'm
I'd
fine
recommend
with that.
people get that card because it really does. It gives back to the community as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think one of the big things with the cost of everything is how it's all packaged as well. Because this is the issue when you've got like I'm single. I think both of you two are. I'm only assuming.
Correct.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. But especially for single people, when you go to the shops and you're buying stuff, everything's like packs of 6 or things. You're going, well, I'm not going to be able to eat all of that in the 2 days it has for it to go off.
Yeah, no, I have campaigned for smaller loaves of bread because I can't get through a whole loaf of bread in a week. I just can't. I only need probably about six slices.
Yeah, like
Too much bread. Too much. They need to start. I mean, that would be awful if you started seeing just individually packaged slices of bread. That would be a step in the wrong direction. I'd say
You
that
get
would
those
be.
mini loaves.
That'd be a sign of.
just a smaller loaf.
It's
so
like
you
buy
can-
one slice, get a slice free.
But yeah,
Ham
no,
half price.
It was the National Price Hike Day on Wednesday, so prescriptions are up by 2.27%. Also, NHS wigs and fabrics are going up. Average water and sewage bills rise by 2%. About 11 million households will have price increases if they're on the standard variable energy tariffs. So 23 suppliers are raising their prices over Ofgem's latest price caps. You know, so first and class, second stamps, air passage duty up, dental checks up, phone contracts up. It's not the happiest start to a show, I grant you.
I need to renew my contract as well, so that's.
Yeah, I mean, you're in trouble.
That is
Like,
tough.
you
I'm
are
on
in
EE.
trouble.
I've been told that EE are very. They don't really care about you as well. I've been with them for 6 years, but if I say that to them, apparently they're going to go. So what?
Who cares?
But, yeah, so that's going to.
Who did EE used to be?
There were 3 and Orange,
yeah.
and then they teamed up. It was like the Avengers of phone networks.
So is 3 now on its own in EE?
No, 3 is in within EE.
Is it?
EE. Yeah, they've.
Oh, okay.
Is that, well, I don't know. Is it 3? It is 3, isn't it?
No, because 3
is still
its
a
own.
network.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's somebody else. Is it T-Mobile they teamed
I'm
up
not.
with?
I'm not great with them because again, I've been with Orange and then EE for
Yeah.
about 18 years
I don't
now,
know who they
and every
teamed up
time it is like, no, I'm getting out, and then you just can't.
No, I can't be
just
bothered.
can't be arsed.
Yeah, I
with
can't be
that.
bothered,
Just sort of.
All my friends
yeah,
are laughing
whatever.
at me. All friends of mine are laughing
That's
at how
so
much
fine.
I'm paying per month for my phone bill. It's £40 I'm paying. Is that embarrassing?
40?
It's 40. Yeah.
Well,
No, I don't think that's
43,
embarrassing. It depends what you get from it, you know?
Yeah.
and what is that? What do you get from it, Chester?
I get unlimited. No, I don't get unlimited data. I get
Oh, you're literally telling me what you get.
I get 8 GB.
Because I've got to renew mine as well, so this is good.
I thought you were genuinely
You tried
interested. I
40.
misread that completely.
I'm right, yeah. What are you getting out of your phone? But like, if
Free
you'd like
calls,
to get
free
unlimited, because I've got, so I've got. I think apparently I've got unlimited minutes, but I don't really call anyone.
Right, well, this is
Just
enough
you-
of that. We're moving on.
I hope there
We're
are
not.
some.
We're not. No, we're done with this.
You didn't mention
For
moisturiser.
the final
in
bit,
that.
for the final bit is that could be interesting for us all. Is you may be able to get automatically compensated for issues with your broadband service now.
My
as well.
my broadband service is crystal
So
clear.
that's a
No
that's a
issues.
little bit of fun. But back to Brexit.
Back to Brexit, yeah.
That's where we were at.
Was all of that in the news this week?
Yes.
God.
Well,
Maybe it's because I just read it online now.
A lot of what he's read out is going to happen anyway.
It just goes on to certain bits for me.
I mean, literally the point of this is for the news that people have missed.
Oh, right. Oh, cool.
A little
Well,
chat.
it's working for me.
Yeah. I mean...
Come every week. Just
one subscriber. Lovely. I mean, you're in it, but fucking hell.
You say this is the third one?
Yeah.
Crikey.
I know.
You actually won the phone-in competition. You're a genuine fan. You're getting to see it now. It's the man himself. It's the man himself. Really a sweetheart.
Unlimited
nice.
minutes. I'll enter everything. Screw it.
So I think we pretty much covered what's happening with Brexit.
Yeah.
We need to find out if there's going to be a longer extension. I reckon there probably will be. I can't see them saying, yeah, it's fine for the 30. If you had Theresa May and Corbyn meet up this week for a couple of days, turns out they couldn't agree on something.
I love it.
Fucking would have guessed that?
I love it when things like that happen, when two people meet. It's like when Putin and Trump meet. They come out and they go, constructive talks. Very constructive. Turns out there are some things that we disagree on. But it's very good that we're, vocalising those disagreements. It's very good. We agreed on the need to cooperate going forward. Emphasise the need for cooperation, but have not shown any cooperation anytime.
I can't consider anything more dull than being a fly on the wall when it's May and Corbyn speaking.
Oh my
I'd be
God,
happy I only lived the day.
I could just imagine sort of like Keir Starmer just sitting in there as well, just banging his head and being like,
done.
Christ. And probably like people around her as well, just like looking at her sort of like pallid direction, being like, oh my God, she's just offered the same thing again.
Yeah.
She keeps offering the same thing in meaningful vote. I love that as a term anyway, but meaningful votes keep offering the same thing.
Yeah.
Goes to Europe, well, we can now do this. That's the same thing. All right, now we're reaching out to Jeremy Corbyn. What are you offering? And he comes out going, oh, actually, after a couple of days of talks, when she finally came to offer something, it was the same thing. And it's just like, what are you doing?
But the idea that Corbyn would have accepted anything anyway is ridiculous. The idea that she would have said, well, I'll offer you this, and Corbyn would have said, yeah, I'll allow you to get your shit through. I'm going to go under that bus with you, you fucking cretin. It's ridiculous to think that either of them were going to agree on anything.
This is Clegg.
Yeah.
See the photos when they come out as well, sort of Corbyn's giving it like, hey,
Yeah.
and she's just there, the same. I keep thinking it's the same photo of her looking sort of like distressed and sort of like a whole pallet of pale in the back of a car. But it's a different photo each time. It's just her sort of bleary-eyed. Like,
Do you reckon when
I've never seen someone who looks more like how I feel.
Do you reckon whenever May orders food at a restaurant, they're always out what she's ordering? Or like a dessert. Every time she orders something, we're out of it. Sorry, I can't win on anything. I can't get anything. That's what I want.
just consistent. I'll have a number one. No, we're out there.
Sorry, we're out of
6.
We're at a cheesecake.
Oh, I can't have 2. I'm allergic to that. We've got tons of 2. Lots of 2. Lots of 2.
So now there was one bit of news this week though that touches on a little bit, and so again maybe you missed this, but we're eating several species into extinction.
Oh,
Which ones?
Well, what do you
Which
think?
ones?
Well, what do you think?
So
What are you
because
mainly
it's some
eating?
sort of-
What are you having on your pizza?
Exactly, so-
other than your fruit and veg, what do you think you might be eating?
So is it some sort of particularly exotic pig or something? Because it's pepperoni I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So is it like a particular pig we're accidentally eating?
don't they farm them?
Exactly, yeah, but this is what I think. This is what you're getting at. There's some very important sort of Egyptian pigs or something that we shouldn't be eating, and they've accidentally farmed. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I
No?
don't think a sphinx is an Egyptian pig.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not much travelled, so maybe I'm right. What do you reckon? What do you reckon we're eating out?
Serbian tiger?
Serbian tiger.
Was that just me?
Well, you're closer. But they listed 10 things, right? And so it's Chinese giant salamander.
I think that has a lot more to do with China than us.
What is a salamander?
But
It's a reptile.
A reptile.
Fuck me sideways.
pangolin.
Don't forget, none of this gets edited out. That's on there forever.
What's a
salamander? A monkey? That's on there forever. That's going to be online forever.
Everyone's like, that's why he's got a terrible phone contract. He doesn't brush up on his reptiles.
And there's others in there. I mean, if you're not sure about salamander, then do you know what a pangolin or a indri or a koala?
Okay,
I'm going for koala. It's kind of spelled like koala with an S.
I'm gonna guess.
And from what I read, it isn't a koala.
Is a pangolin a bird? And you guess what I got there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it said it got scales, I think, so maybe. Maybe. But then there's so much stuff. There's the beluga sturgeon, and so that's like you and your caviar. So that's the one thing that I think you might have eaten, because you're a bit of a caviar you're a sturgeon socialist, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
that's
massive.
what I've heard whispers.
But also there's actually a place in Spain that is farming sturgeon, which is something that people didn't think you could do. That is doing fair trade, well, not fair trade, as it were, reusable. What's the word I'm fucking looking for?
Recyclable.
No, it can be able to. It's
self-sustaining.
That's it. Yeah, sustained sturgeon. So you're not getting rid of them. But that with the rest of them.
But it just seems like this is what I mean about like the stories that I looked at this week. It just seems like everyone's so wrapped up and concentrating on Brexit now that it just these stories where you're like, well, that's not. You forgot you had to hand something else in, and it's so these are apparently 10 species that we're eating out into extinction. It's like, well, one of them there's only 4 left, so it's like, and I only found out it existed, and there's only 4 of them. So is that a massive problem? And
but they are delicious.
And I haven't been eating them as far as the co-op. None of these in. There's the Yangtze giant soft-shell turtle. There's 4 of them left. 3 are men.
There's 4 turtles left.
2, of
have
those ones.
Have they gone into the sewers?
You might know
the influence of a rat.
No. It's possible.
That's what I do.
See, now there is a story behind. Like, so 2 of the gents, they're together in one river, and 2 of the others in Vietnam, and the other 2, male and female, they're in captivity in China. And then the male's got a damaged penis.
Oh man!
So again, it's like
that's one hell of a sitcom. That is.
Yeah. Well, I think one for Pixar.
Quick, we need to get this turtle's penis over to here.
This poor broken penis. We believe in you.
That's going to be the next one. Penises have feelings.
Oh no, they've already made up. So you couldn't be.
Hey, hello.
Do you reckon that turtle's trying to make sure the female turtle doesn't hear about the other 2 turtles with functioning penises? She's like on the internet looking for him. It's like, what are you looking at? Nothing. Wellfunctioningturtles.com.
Well, the turtle's trying with the other, and that one going, no, I've heard they're self-sustaining sturgeon. There's still a chance. We don't need to try that.
That now sounds like.
Well, it's farming, so it means that caviar is more sustainable.
Thank God.
Phew.
Yeah. Well, see, Brexit's not so bad.
Listen, I mean, I've never tried caviar, and I don't suppose to. But the idea of having something that rich people are looking to absolutely destroy and make it actually sustainable, so they don't get allowed to destroy it, seems like a good thing to me. But I want to move on to another story that goes in with kind of with Brexit and everything else. It is our army officers. Spending their days shooting at pictures of Corbyn.
Shooting at Corbyn.
Which is...
But are you going to try and tell me that Corbyn doesn't have a dartboard with a Trident submarine on it? You're going to tell me that? He's doing this... This is war, son!
There's a couple of points to this story that I find absolutely beautiful. The first is the fact that they did it. The second, the fact that someone filmed it. The third, that it got out. And you're there going, this is going to be the most interesting way of getting sacked from the army ever. Imagine going into a job interview after that. So why did you leave the army? I was using Jeremy Corbyn as target practice. The real one? No, just a picture. Any particular reason? He's a terrorist. Ah, you're a racist. I see.
I like the idea of going for an interview with the army and doing very, very well. And then as you get up to leave, a photo falls out with bullet holes, and it's Corbyn photo. And it's like, what's that? Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. Are you one of them that shot that? No, not me. Wasn't me.
You just have to tweak it on your CV, don't you? So it's like, oh, and you left the army.
And the hobbies and interests.
Why'd you leave? Oh, well, I was really good at it. I was always shooting at the leader of the opposition. I mean, that's the name of the game, really. So I was good at that, but then I just wanted to try something different.
And did that story get out before or after they met? May and Corbyn met.
It was before.
So that's you telling me that May's not leaked that? By the way, I do have soldiers, and they do not like you.
Yeah, they always send it on videos.
These soldiers, but the soldiers working at that point, they're called guardian angels.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Fucking madness.
Shooting Santa Claus.
Their job is literally to protect senior military officials, diplomats, or politicians. Corbyn going over there, spending some time with the troops. Oh yeah, no, you don't need the normal blue vest. What we've got for you is we've got this massive illuminated yellow vest. So why don't you run that way, you prick?
Yeah. Who's blowing up a big picture of Corbyn in the
Yeah,
first place? And has someone walked in on that and they're like, "Oh no, I was just going to shoot at it."
Yeah, but I mean, you're in.
Never
Yeah, I mean, is that the worst part? The amount of toner that they used.
Yeah, where are you getting? Are they just on the base that bored?
Well, it was a colour photo as well. So they obviously that would have taken a lot of time to fucking print.
A very strange attitude for Corbyn to have upon hearing of that news, being like, "Well, for starters, it's a waste of ammo." And like, what if France invades? You know,
fuck ammo. Ammo is cheaper than toner. You want to start saving money? You want to start saving the fucking toner? Only do black and white, my friends. You know, doing all of these fucking colours.
I didn't actually see the video of the soldier shooting him. What is he doing in the photo? Is it just him? Is it him?
It's just him. It's him surrounded by red.
By red.
Yeah, because it was probably a Labour conference.
Oh, okay.
So it's him looking smug.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I had saw that photo, I would have
clenched. You would have busted a cap.
I would have clenched my fist. You know, I wouldn't have started taking shots because the idea. I mean, this is a country where just a couple of years ago, Joe Cox was actually fucking shot.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the problem with it.
So I think it's a step forward. Actually, shooting photographs is a very good step forward for us.
Yeah.
What have we told them about shooting politicians?
But what you're having here is a potential of nutters seeing this and saying, "Well,
this is what we're doing now."
The British army are against him. They want to shoot him. This is right. This is the right thing to do. I am right. I have been sold. I've been shown that I'm right by the British army.
Yeah.
But that fits in with the whole the partisan nature of what the media are doing at the moment, and what the MPs themselves are doing. Like even going back to the Rees-Mogg sort of we'll get into Europe and then we'll fuck them up from the inside. The sort of come on, what that. Like it's like some weird kids sort of playground stuff, trying to sort of incite all of this anger, whilst at the same time really fuck all is going on.
Yeah, but arguing they're not doing it, they're taking no responsibility. Jacob Rees-Mogg, this absolute tosspot of a human being. Yeah,
far right video.
Yeah, and. Jacob Rees-Mogg, did you see this?
Retweet isn't an endorsement.
He retweeted the co-leader of the AFD, which is the Alternative for Germany party, which is the fourth biggest party in Germany. Everyone goes, "Oh, it's the main opposition." It's not. It's lower in the polls than the Greens, and then you've got two parties, the SPD. And Merkel's party, which I think is the CDU, I think it's something like that, the Union Party. They're in a coalition together. So the AFD are fourth. You know, they're the fucking UKIP, but even more far right. Yeah. Oh, I say that. No, not now. They were when Farage is a right wing nationalist prick. But he wasn't as. Oh no, I can't say that. He was. He did Nazi chants when he was a child. Like UKIP, basically. Yeah. I was trying to be nice to UKIP, but they're absolute scummy cunts. And so Jacob Rees-Mogg retweeted a tweet of the co-leader talking, and what he was talking about was doing a speech about David Cameron's negotiations with the EU back in, I think it was 2013, something like that. which actually the negotiations we did quite well out of. No one mentions that because they're all fucking idiots. But saying, the EU are bad, the negotiations were bad, and he's there going, see, even Germany's saying it, even Germany, and then everyone went, they're fascists, mate. That's who you're tweeting. You're retweeting a racist, nationalistic, fucking Nazi apologist, shit-stained fucking assholes, and he's there going, I think you'll find a retweet is not an endorsement. They go, well, yeah. You fucking endorsed it, you prick.
Yeah.
I don't endorse cats jumping on a toilet.
Yeah, so
I don't. Just
so it
'cause I
deserves
agree.
to be spoken about. He said it's sort of. It's just it's interesting.
freedom
They've
of
got
speech.
those opinions as well, isn't it? Yeah,
reckon-
interesting. They've got those opinions.
Do you reckon, do you reckon
isn't
he
it?
legit realised who they were and he wanted to say,
Yes.
these people are with me? Or do you think it was, somebody in Germany agrees with me and it was a panic? One of his...
It's
No.
no
You
panic.
reckon,
He's
you
just
reckon,
getting
you
the
reckon
message.
he genuinely thinks that if he gets the AFP...
AFD.
AFD, so this far-right German party, to
Yes.
say, look, they agree with me, is so you think he legit did that to try and...
Yeah, although I don't think he understands history, and I think that Eton and wherever, I think he went to Cambridge, I think that both of them have a lot to fucking answer for how they teach their children.
Yes.
Eton especially, because you see the people who come from Eton, and they all seem to be thick as shit. Every
But Cameron
single
did a great
fucking
job
one
with
of
the
them.
negotiation.
No, he didn't do a great job. We just came out better, and he did literally fuck all. They don't do the negotiations. They're not there sitting there. It's people like fucking Ollie Robbins who actually knows what he's talking about. These people who do it, or what's his name? Was it who was the one who left just as we did things? Sir Ivan Rogers, I think it is. He was our main negotiator. He was fantastic.
You liked him.
He knew what he was talking about. I've got lots of time for civil servants.
Yeah.
You know, they do a lot of work on the back of having to deal with these absolute toss bags as MPs. I've got no qualms with the majority of civil servants. You know, they do a job.
Just the figureheads who go around tweeting things and don't think about the consequences and don't even mind the consequences.
Exactly.
Like what you're saying about whether he sort of like whether it was about anything that came back from that or him doing it's no mistake or anything. It's just like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That supports my message. Doesn't matter where it's come from. The rest, everyone else can just clear up. It's done now.
Well, because no
It's
one
out
would have
there.
seen it.
Got me retweets.
And he's
Got me likes.
and he spread that party further. I was in a conversation with someone the other day about
Look
this.
them up.
Yeah, and
They've been
they
going
went. Well, the thing is, she made sense. She made sense. You're going. Not only do you not have a fucking clue what she's talking about, you tossbag, but on the plus side, you're saying that a fucking fascist, racist, shit-stained party makes sense. They're going, yeah, but it doesn't matter what else they say. It fucking does.
Yeah. And like context is king in all of
Yeah.
this because you can find words from anyone to sort of support anything that you're doing. Really, I mean, in that way, you might as well just play cassette boy and be like, see, it's all true. They have said these words.
Well, it's there going. Well, Farage loves a pint. I love a pint.
Who
It can't be all bad.
Who walks away from a plane crash? Every day I think that.
I'm
Every
telling
day
you,
just
I'm
like,
telling
who
you
walks
now,
away
the
from a plane
reason
crash?
that he did it is because he actually survives off of the blood of children, and he had a little package with him. That's the blood over him. The blood over him is the blood of the baby blood that he carries around with him. You know, he is a monster. He's a fucking monster.
55.
I know.
He looks great.
He looks like a cancerous nut. You know.
Yeah.
He would be in my top 10 sexiest far right.
Would he?
Do you have that list? Do you have a list? You have a
Go on
list.
then. 1 to 10.
I don't
Go on.
have any
Go
other
on.
far right thinkers. I don't. Well, that's good though, isn't it? I don't Google far right things. I don't have a.
Yeah, but you're chucking
And
me
I'm-
into your top 10. You don't know how hot the rest of them are.
Probably stripped. They're probably actually in dynamite shape, stripped to the waist.
Fantastic. Yeah, they all meet up, arm wrestle. For a nice stein. Yeah, it's-
Always trying to push someone else to the right. That's an actual joke. You can take that home with you. Right. So you've done one news story. Go.
So did you read this week about the Chinese woman who managed to sneak into one of Trump's resorts?
No.
One of Florida's resorts. So it's Mar-a-Lago. She managed to sneak in. She is apparently somebody who she had promised a lot of businessmen in China that she could get them into this resort, which the president visits, and they could have a chat with him. So she got through by saying that she wanted to use the pool, and the club manager said her last name's Zhang, and the club manager went, well, there's somebody else with the last name Zhang on this list, so she's probably his daughter or something. Because what are the chances there'll be another Zhang in China?
What a day for him.
So then she got a little further and then said she was there for the Chinese American Association event, and there was no such event taking place. So she should have stuck with the pool story, man. She was doing really well. And then the Secret Services took her aside, and they said that they searched her. And she had a laptop, she had 4 cell phones, she had an external hard drive, and she had 1 thumb drive with computer malware on it. And then the end of the story finishes with, she did not have a swimsuit. Now that's how good the Secret Service are. Wait a minute, Jerry. Wouldn't a laptop get broken if you threw it in a pool? What was left out of the story is that the Secret Service actually arrested 12 other Chinese women before they found the right one.
It's always nice when every story has a hint of racism in. Oh, you look like you're Chinese. You're probably it. How about you? You? I
think it's a very... You see movies like Ocean's 11, they're like Americans trying to figure out really elaborate ways to break into casinos. China's like, just show up. Honestly, they will not know what to do. The Secret Service will not know how to handle it.
It's fun when he's trying to stop so many people from sort of like getting into the country. Yeah. And he's sort of like he's like this world leader for security and creating boundaries and keeping people out. But if you just say the right name,
are you trying to tell me there's another Gonzalez?
Will he? Yeah. What other names have you got there? I'm definitely one of those. Were they going to sort of like now just stop Chinese people from going in there because
Chinese aren't allowed to swim
just any
resorts anymore, which is a shame.
Yeah, just alienate
one of
a
the
few other
favourite things
countries.
to do, I hear. You know, eat salamander, go for a swim.
Those scaly salamander.
Yeah. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought they were trying to get not trade secrets, but infiltrate the government. But it wasn't. She was just trying to get businessmen into.
Were the businessmen with her?
With the president. No, she was going to.
Because if the businessmen were with her at the time, that would have been just beautiful. That would have been a TV show. Yeah. Just her walking in. Oh no, I can get you in. I can get you in.
She's got a briefcase.
Yeah. Oh no, I can get you all in. I can get you all in. Just hold this lilo.
Yeah. Nothing here, the officer. Just 20 Chinese businessmen having a swim.
Putting the little lifeguard's ladder up to the wall. Quick, go on, just give him a leg up. But you're believing that part of the story then. She's lied to get in there, but you're believing I was just trying to get these businessmen in. Yeah. What businessmen? Well, they're not here.
So they were. No. See,
they ran off.
She was trying to get in. I guess she was going to try and get in, and maybe get in, like just talk to some of these business people, and I don't know, maybe get it in somehow. Bring. Can I bring some mates along next time? You know, I don't know what the plan was. I didn't read the whole article. She didn't have them with her.
I read about all of those.
She didn't know the plan either.
Yeah. It wasn't me. It was her. Yeah. She didn't. Yeah.
Maybe she was the right Zhang, and they have just thrown out a Chinese woman.
That's also equally possible. Maybe they have. Yeah.
I mean, that was.
Why'd you have 4 cell phones on you? Burners.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice story.
Thank you.
You know, I'm gonna.
No one else would have bothered to read that. That's why I thought I would read.
You're quite right. You're quite right. No one else would have bothered with that one.
This leaves so many questions.
I read the article. And, that's enough.
That'll do.
People obviously no questions when I tell my story. By the way, there are no further questions. I'm telling you what happened. That's it. I'm not.
Shit. You got something?
Get my shit.
Yeah. Drinking. If you have a drink every day, that increases your chance of having a stroke.
Yeah, that was similar to the fruit and veg story.
I'm all fucked.
I was thinking that. Yeah, so the fruit and veg, good apparently. Drink a day, bad.
Yeah, I wish someone had told me.
But that's for a stroke, whereas before they've said a glass of wine a day is good for
the heart. But I've always known that's not true. I've always known that the glass of wine for the what's it called?
And they were
thing for your heart.
What's that? Vascular.
God, it's like
I used to play Operation
surrounded
all the time.
with doctors. Christ. What's the name? What's the name for that heart bit? Heart.
You know what I mean?
Valve.
It sounds like an indicator.
Yeah.
What's that?
Alveoli? No.
No, it's
no, it's not. It's not areola. I'm quite sure of that. I mean, I only got GCSEs at school, but I'm quite sure that
You got a C in biology.
I got a 2 C's because I did double science, which for some reason was a thing. I never understood that, but you know.
You get to do if you did double science, you get to use potassium. That was the deal, wasn't it? Because potassium was the thing you put in water. When you're a kid, you just want shit to explode.
See, no, I got.
I'm still on that now.
I got 2 B's at double science award thing, which that really propped up the.
Did you get to use potassium?
What was purple folder? The record of achievement or something.
I never got a record of achievement. You know,
it's great. It's great when you sort of like when in my early 30s, I'd go for a job and then I'd see someone with their national record of achievement, think, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
One, they might get this job.
Like having
and
the
2,
100%.
It's a standard of job where someone's come
Oh
from.
god, this is what I'm up against. I'm up against someone who's brought a purple folder. I'm never going to get this job. Not with all of my experience and this 12-year-old coming to get my job.
Tell you what though, I did get that job and I sorted that Christmas mail with aplomb for those 2 weeks. So in his face.
I mean, Christ, your 30s weren't that fun, were they?
That's what happens when you get 2 B's in science. You can sort out Christmas mail.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did any of that knowledge come into play when you were sorting out Christmas mail?
It was really just postcodes. Yeah. It didn't really do a great deal.
Right. Next thing I want to talk about is Brazil, because the Brazilian education minister, whose name is Ricardo Velez, says school textbooks will be revised to include to deny that the 1964 coup was indeed a coup. Do we all know the 1964 coup in Brazil?
No.
Surprised me.
Yeah, in 1984, the military ousted the democratically elected president. That's it.
Okay.
It sounds like a coup, doesn't it?
It does. But what are they saying?
They're saying that it wasn't a coup. They say that
he agreed to leave, and there happened to be soldiers around.
They say that what happened was the military listened to the will of the people, and the will of the people wanted to get rid of the democratically elected president.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to listen to you people who voted for this person, and we are going to, with the full force of the military, take over. For 21 years.
Did they say they were merely Brazilian volunteers, not actually part of the army? Like, that's the Russian excuse.
Oh no,
merely Brazilian volunteers. They had crossed the little badge out.
They all had our guns.
It was a weekend. It was a weekend. They did it.
But I mean,
organised coup.
The thing is, they were all volunteers, and seeing what they've done, none of them are going to get their deposit back.
Yeah.
None of them. For all of the weapons that they loaned, they're not getting that deposit back.
In my spare time, I like to evict democratic leaders.
What did you do that summer?
Some people like to play golf.
64.
I like to overthrow democracy.
But the military rule, that was 21 years of Brazilian history that involved like around 400 people went disappeared or killed, and thousands that were detained and tortured.
Are they rewriting that bit?
Yes.
Is it just the
they're
word?
rewriting it all. It's another showing of rewriting the past.
How can you do that in 2019? That's what I want to know. You can get away with that when there was no access to knowledge. There's no how can you possibly get away with erasing history now?
It's all the control of online. That's it.
So they're gonna censor the Brazilian. You have to go on the dark web.
Yeah, you have to go into the dark web to
scroll through all the uranium.
Oh Christ! It will be amazing. That will be depressing if going on the dark web actually gave you the truth.
It's the BBC website.
It would be there going, I can get a hooker. I can get some heroin. I can go on about how women love fucking their dogs, and I can also learn what actually happened during the military coup of 1964.
It's going to be sent to you. The crack's going to be sent to you in a newspaper cutting that actually has the truth on it.
Well, this is a continuation of what we've seen of the rise of the. I've said far right before, but I'll carry on with far right with the old Brazilian president. What's his name? Fucking Bolsonaro. Is it Bolsonaro? Bolsonaro. Fuck him. He doesn't need his name pronounced properly. He's a cunt.
Was he was he elected fairly?
He was elected fairly.
Right.
Yeah, but he's a populist.
Okay.
So like it was like Trump, but slimier.
Ooh.
You know.
Ooh. He doesn't do ridiculous. Is he smarter than Trump? He must be.
I think most of people. I don't think he does a lot of tweets, but he was at Israel this week.
Kick-ups. No, that's not fair.
He was. He was no.
This is gonna destroy me.
I should have said it at the start. Every time you ask for something to be edited out, you owe us £10. No, you owe us £10. That's it. You owe Pete £10.
I'll slip Pete a 20 later.
Yeah, and then he'll keep it and not edit it out. This isn't about doing more work. But he was in Israel this week, and in front of a Holocaust memorial, and said that the Nazis were leftists. Right. And so this is the continuation of going. I mean, there's confidence there, but it's the far right continually trying to rewrite history. It's them going, well, I think you'll find the Nazis had socialism in their name. Yeah, but they weren't socialists. They weren't. They just simply weren't. Yep. In North Korea is a Democratic Republic of Korea. That's not a fucking democracy, though, is it?
Mm. It's a bit of a stand-up thing as well, like where you sort of like you talk yourself into a certain corner, and then you go, look, I'll try and get out of this. Yeah. Then he comes off going, bloody did it. Yeah, I did it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, look at that. Leftists, why not?
And I made a point on Facebook about that knobhead saying about how the Nazis are fucking left wing, and straight away, and I knew it was going to happen. Straight away, some fucking knobhead goes, "I think you'll find if you actually look at the history, a lot of the stuff that they were saying was actually a rather socialist. I think you'll find. And they go, mate, you missed all of the point." Mm. Like it don't matter if they wanted to bring in the NHS. When a party does a Holocaust, it doesn't matter what they've said, what they claim that they fucking want. Yeah. They are not fucking left wing. When they take away all freedoms and kill the Jews, they can no longer call themselves socialist. They're just not allowed to go. Well, I think we'll find in their manifesto if you actually read like I've done the 1928 manifesto, you'll find some rather enjoyable socialist things. Mate, it don't matter.
I'm sure
it really doesn't matter.
There were 5 really solid years.
I'm sure there are some pleasant Nazis. I'm sure there are some pleasant Nazis.
Is that your other 10 quid?
No, it's just like
keeping that one in the hole. Yeah, no,
it's just like there
I'm sure there are. I'm sure you're arguing it as well. I'm positive. Let me get my phone out.
You can meet evil people that you could probably tolerate for 10 minutes without realising they're scumbags. You know what I mean? We could all get.
What I like is this is going to be the last time that Chester's ever seen. It's beautiful. I think this. I mean, have you done many other podcasts before? Is this your first one?
No, I did. I did Radio Dartford.
Did Radio Dartford?
But we didn't discuss politics. We just discussed like stand up and stuff. It was much safer. And then I did. That Patrick Melton's one, the Funny Onion.
And what was that about?
That was just his podcast. It was me and Patrick Brittenhand. Brittenhand did most of the talking. I was just there.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see your last one. Though.
In hindsight, I should have probably had that tactic for this one as well. Had Daniel do most of the talking.
Oh no, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. You know, because I mean the other subjects I want to talk about are just we're going to go into Brunei soon.
Brunei,
and I'm going to be fascinated about your opinions on this. Because so far, you seemingly have been trying to say how there are nice Nazis, which is
pleasant.
Sorry,
positive. That's not nice.
I'm not. Yes.
Well raised.
I'm not going to libel you. That'd be awful to suggest you thought they were nice ones. Just pleasant. Fuck me sideways.
Yeah, absolutely lovely.
Yeah, some really pleasant ones. You could certainly go out. You could certainly go out for a picnic with them.
It's going to come out in 20 years. It's going to come out to. I'm going to have to.
Coming out tomorrow, mate.
Going to pay you £50,000 to keep this on the download.
Say what you like. He knew how to throw a good dinner party. There were things you wouldn't bring up. Sure, but the crudité were fine. Pleasant, very pleasant.
There was one slice of cheesecake, and he let me have it.
You were never far away from a Ferrero Rocher. That's the thing with him, you know. I mean, sure, he wanted to kill all the Jews, but always had a Ferrero Rocher. Gave you his last Rolo. It was a fine chap, if not a bit dodgy.
Don't get a drink in him.
He gets very Holocausty.
It's quite Larry after a drink. Quite Larry.
I've always said that's the problem with gin. You know? Some people it makes them cry. Some people it makes them very holocausty.
Yeah. So the Brunei stoning.
Yeah. Over in Brunei, they brought in a new law that is an anti-LGBT law that says that if you are a homosexual, if you're any letter in the LGBT plus, they can stone you to death. Now, homosexuality is banned in Brunei. You can get a 10-year jail sentence for being a homosexual. So they've upped the ante. I mean, they've made it very much. It's because they've also brought in things like amputation if you're caught for theft, and they're very much making it like Aladdin but R-rated.
Because that's very retro.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Maid Marian sort of stuff, isn't it?
Have you heard what Ellen and Elton John and George Clooney are going to do in protest?
What are they going to do in protest?
So, because apparently the Sultan, he owns a lot of luxury hotels that they stay in. So, in protest of people now having their hand chopped off, they're going to stop staying in those hotels. Which I know what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But do you realise how it sounds? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to stop staying in luxury hotels. I'll tell you that. I'm going to stop having a fresh bagel every morning in protest. That's what I'm going to do.
Me and them both. I haven't stayed in one.
We've got
in
to
time.
fight back. We've got to fight back against this. So I'm not going to have. I'm going to start staying in travel lodges. No minibar. This is how they're going to listen if they find out that I'm going out with my luxury things.
Just going along, going, well, I'm going to satirise you and no longer say in the Dorchester. Go, mate, the man doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's
you know,
more money than he knows what to do with.
We turned around, and the UK government turned around and said, if you continue with this, and if you do not turn around these laws, we may kick you out of the Commonwealth.
The foreign minister had a meeting with the Sultan, and the talks were described as constructive.
That's the first callback that's happened in this, I think.
Yeah, all over the shop. All over the shop.
I knew there was a reason that we brought you into
my sympathies and callbacks.
But are we going to say now, kicking someone out of the Commonwealth doesn't seem like that big of a deal if you're Brunei?
Yeah, that would be the kind of thing that he would, when he was moving house, he would find the letter years later and go, oh, am I kicked out of the Commonwealth? I didn't even know I was in the Commonwealth.
The only reason to be in the Commonwealth is for the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
That's it. And Brunei are not winning any fucking medals.
Is he a fan of athletics, the Sultan?
Yeah, but I mean, even if it was, Brunei aren't winning any fucking medals.
He had Michael Jackson
at nothing
perform in front of him. At the 50th birthday, he had Michael Jackson.
And what people don't realise is they actually paid Michael Jackson in children.
Are they no good? They're no good at anything in the Commonwealth.
No, I don't think so.
Not even shot put or anything? Is that...
Oh no, because they don't have any hands left.
Right, okay.
all the amputations.
Who's doing the stoning then?
That's the only way they'd get a medal if they brought that in as a
Is that part of the
an
ploy?
event.
Oh, it's backfired then.
Oh, that's it. Like, let's bring in stoning as an Olympic event.
Or javelining them, they could.
Yeah, but you'd need the run up and the thing. Like, if you could hit someone, but you'd have to be allowed the person to run.
It'd be fighting chance, wouldn't it? Yeah.
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 And if they
maybe that's
they
what I
don't
mean by
get
constructive. They brought in different. Yeah, they brought in different events that they might actually be able to.
Yeah, they brought them in just before they kicked him out.
I like how you're going through
some sort of
Nazis are pleasant. And you're now going through. I think Brunei actually. This is a deep dive into a long. They're Corbyning. This is the long game. You know, they're playing 7D chess while the rest of us don't have a fucking clue. Just to bring in stoning into the Olympics.
Well, say what you like, Ash. A lot of them
are
very pleasant. I'm sure you can find some very pleasant ones. I mean, it's not. Not cut and dry. It's not cut and dry. Don't know if you've ever stayed in any of their hotels. Absolutely smashing.
I haven't, mate. I haven't. I mean,
I've not knowingly.
It's such an interesting way for the rich to turn around and go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to different nice hotels.
It was more. Yeah, it was more like I think they didn't realise until they'd already said it. That's why I think clearly their PR guy. Do you not realise what the how sort of white privilege that sounds? Like, you know what I mean?
I'm no longer
get killed. And you're like, well, I'm not staying in a hotel. What else can I do?
They'll be grateful, won't they?
I'll send them $400 in the mail.
You're there turning around going, I think, right, no longer will I wipe my ass with £20 notes. Now only 10s.
That is it. Yeah,
they go, well,
I've got to
you
start giving back.
You You're not doing anything.
It's a disaster,
He doesn't give
yeah.
a fuck. He's one of the richest people in the world.
But what's
You're
so
not
cute about it
affecting
is
him.
it was so well intentioned as well. That's why it's
yeah.
better. They were trying to be like, trying to get George Clooney, what an honourable man.
You would have thought
What an
that George
honourable-
Clooney would have
yeah.
fucking spoke to his wife first, who's a human rights lawyer,
Yeah.
and said, "Listen, I've got this idea. What we're gonna do? You see the Brunei stuff? Of course you have seen it. You're a human rights lawyer. You know vastly more than I do about this stuff. But let me explain what I'm going to do, because that's how I assume the conversation goes.
Yeah.
Is they're gonna go right? Awful stuff. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to stop going to the Dorchester."
And then she went, "We're going to stop going to the Dorchester."
Oh no! Don't do that. Don't do that.
Dropped her
Yeah.
Nespresso.
Got
What?
9 stamps.
I assume that she would have turned around at that point and said, "That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard, you Hollywood cunt."
Yeah.
But I tweeted it
But
now.
I'm still more mad about him. More mad with him about Batman than that. Actually, that was the worst thing he's done. I think. You know that Batman movie he did?
Yes, I'm fully aware. I just don't see the relevance.
Okay. But I get you don't talk about Batman on your podcast. That's fine. It's called Political Breakdown.
I'm fine.
Not DC chat.
I'm fine talking about Batman. I just didn't realise that. I mean, listen, you can talk about what you like.
Thanks.
But if it goes too long, I am going to cut it and move on.
I read your look. It's fine. I read your look.
Yes.
It's fine.
No, you're quite right. I don't.
I got some stuff on Grange Hill.
Fantastic.
Go on then.
Oh no, but again, it's just I feel like that there isn't been really much news.
This is our.
Fuck off, mate.
No,
this is
so
our-
you know
this is our panic
Zamo.
cleanser.
You know Zamo.
Yes,
from
he's
Grange
going
Hill?
into EastEnders. That's the news.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
but did you see it?
Let's
There
move
was
on.
like, no, it was a whole massive page, and it was going on for ages about it. And then at the end, it's like he'll be in 2 episodes in spring. It's like, that's a whole big thing about the history of Zamo.
I don't know who Zamo
And
is.
him-
Was Zamo 80s?
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
neither was I. I was 88. He's old, mate. It's fine. You know, he's there going on about fucking
Grange
Muffin the
Hill.
Mule. You
Go-
know?
Yeah. They had crazy names for child characters back in the 80s.
Well, he was
What's his actual name?
he was a heroin addict and
Grange
he
Hill?
died. No, was it Zamo? And that might have been Danny.
It weren't Zamo.
Danny, wasn't it? Zamo.
Was
Yeah.
there intense scenes of heroin, people taking heroin in Grange
Yeah,
Hill?
yeah.
At 4:25.
Yeah, Mr. McCluskey was in bits. Yeah, but yeah, Danny died in the car, and then they all released a single called "Just Say No,"
I remember that.
which
don't
Zamo
think-
did just to work for the next 30 years. But now
was,
he's in
was
EastEnders.
there a lot of like-
Skag?
No, I was going to say, was there a lot of
Neon.
scenes of him like heating up spoons, or was it more assume that he was doing, like he says, "Oh, I'm doing heroin," and then he comes back looking like he's done heroin?
It was mainly, I think it was smoking, and he did look pretty gaunt. It was actually quite well done.
Quite
And
powerful
you know,
acting.
I was 8,
Yeah.
so I was a connoisseur of that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, actually, this is believable. But yeah, died in the
looks
car,
like
and they didn't play
on
the
the
music
heroin.
at the end of that episode.
Did put the
Right.
music on the end of the. Oh,
Was that a nod saying definitely cut this out?
it was 10 minutes.
No, that's
Damn
him
it.
telling me we've got 10 minutes left. But
But
thank.
Oh, good,
thank-
because there's
thank-
another
yeah,
character
but,
from.
Thanks for ruining the fucking mystique of what's going on.
But on the
Christ.
subject- on the subject-
You'll be
It was
fantastic.
It was a
there.
very big nod. You didn't explain you were going to be nodding.
I didn't need to explain. I was going to be nodding. You know, we're in a conversation here. There's someone else there.
I know what it
He's,
well.
he's keeping up with what's actually going on.
I didn't know if it
while
was
you're
one of the,
going
which
on
one
while-
of the 7
while-
it was
While
that
you're
you were
coming on
talking
to a
to.
show called Political Fucking Breakdown,
Didn't know
I'm bringing
that.
on about Zamo, you fucking knobhead.
But that was political.
Why?
Because he was in Grange Hill, which was very political then, and now he's in EastEnders, and that's where a lot of people get their news.
I
mean, don't look
stop.
that up.
On the
because
subject
I
of
haven't,
drugs,
but
though,
I'm
did you
pretty-
see? No, this is news. Prince Harry is talking about, you know, that game Fortnite that everybody's addicted
Right,
to.
okay.
apparently. I've never played it.
That's an
But
online
Prince
thing,
Harry,
isn't it?
yeah. In light of that, said that social media is more addictive than drugs and alcohol.
I mean, if someone's going to say it, he would probably know. You know, if you're going to listen to someone, take someone who
I
has
don't-
obviously spent a lot of time on coke.
I don't think that's true. I think like you can have like physical symptoms from withdrawing from drugs and alcohol. Well, not alcohol, but and alcohol as well. But social media, do you get physical symptoms from that? Do you get
if
is there a
I
train
think
spotting esque thing?
if
where
he
you
turned
take
around
your
and
phone away
said,
from you and
"No, I
You
think
could. Mental health, I think, really suffers from
Really?
like if you come away from
Yeah,
social
mental health
media
certainly
and
does.
you've grown up just sort of like constantly connected.
So
to the phone,
kids would now genuinely have that kind of that meltdown without their phone.
Yeah, but people going about like Fortnite and everything else, and you're going, oh, it's so addictive. They go, mate, have you never played Football Manager?
Yeah.
Like I spent years of my fucking life, especially when I was a teenager, playing Football Manager or Championship Manager as it was then.
People still do. People still do.
Yeah, people still do. I still do. I mean, you haven't. I've got a Football Manager on the thing. Luckily, I haven't paid it in months, so I've actually got stuff done. But if I get on it, they're going, oh yeah, let's have a look at the thing.
Yeah, you'll do that after the Edinburgh show.
Yeah.
Once that's finished,
But there is an addictive quality to computer games.
For sure.
Certainly, but to suggest that it's anywhere close to the actual addiction.
That's what I mean. These are actually like.
I don't think you
inject fluid into or you have fluid in your body that your body then loses. So that's much more of a harder thing to give up, I'd say, than
it's very much a mental aspect.
I mean, I wasn't talking about Championship Manager in fairness. I was talking about Fortnite. Championship Manager. I think,
I've never played it. Have you played it?
No, I haven't.
Have you played it?
No. So is it?
I don't know what it is.
Fortnite is it's Game of Thrones meets Battle Royale, which is remember that movie Battle Royale?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're just going around just killing each other, but you're all on the same platform, and you go around as the last man standing. So there must be something.
Sounds addictive.
There must be something else to it. There must be. I don't know what. Yeah.
No, there must be.
I've never played it.
Must be. Isn't there? There must be.
Right.
I never played it, and maybe I don't want to play it. I don't know if I will. You know.
Let's finish on the. This is going to be a quick one because I don't want to go too much in depth for it because of who we are. But a UK judge has said that men have a fundamental human right to have sex with their wives. Now, this is Mr. Justice Haden, and he made that with a Y, Hayden, unlike mine, so not an actual name.
There's not more than one Haden in the UK.
Yeah, but he made a statement at a preliminary hearing on the 1st of April. Now, this is something about a man and wife. They've been married for 20 years. A council has said that the wife has learning difficulties and is now doesn't have the mental health to be able to consent to sex. And so they've taken it to court because the council wants the judge to put in a order to say that the husband cannot have sex with the wife. Now, the issue with this comes because everyone's jumped onto it and go, oh, it's terrible, it's terrible. The man doesn't have a fundamental human right to have sex with their wife. This is rape, this is rape, this is rape. Now, what people have missed is what a human right is. A human right is simply a human's right against a government. So a fundamental human right to have sex with their wife is saying the government cannot get involved in your private life. That is like human right number 8. But with this particular issue, with the mental health and everything else, that is where the government may be able to get involved. So where everyone's jumping in going, this is against human rights, no one has a fundamental human right to everything. You do have a human right to have sex with your wife with consent.
Yeah. Yes.
So with this, when we jump so quickly to everything, when we see a piece of news, like I did straight away, see that going, oh, you fucking cunt. Yeah. Oh, he's got my name as well, the fucking prick. Of course he fucking does. Yeah. How would you stop people jump in straight away? What would you look at doing?
If you had added with consent onto the end of that sentence, would anyone have jumped on it? I genuinely think the addition of with consent makes everybody think again.
It's just the way it's totally the way it's reported.
Yeah, exactly. I agree that sentence, the human rights. When you first said it, I thought, what is it as well? But then suddenly when you explained what human right actually is, I went, okay, so he's not actually, that sentence isn't that bad. But I honestly think if you had said with consent at the end of that sentence, or the judge should have, I probably would have got there myself. Probably would have been like, oh, okay, he's just saying that they both have a right to have sex.
But was the judge just saying, like, because with this, he was literally just saying, I am understanding the man's rights in this case. That's what he's saying. Like because that's what a judge should do. He has to let everyone know.
Yeah.
I understand your rights. I understand your rights.
Yeah.
So he was just saying you do have a fundamental human right to have sex with your wife. However, now that you know that I understand that that I know your rights, let's proceed with the case.
Is it?
And is it the judge's job to fucking spoon feed everything to stupid cunts who'll just jump at anything? You know, it's not his job in a court of law
But it's also
to spoon feed what's going to happen on Twitter.
It's also quite, it's quite delicate, and it's very. There are implications in human right to have sex with your wife. That is trapping accidentally. Some people I can easily see how people go, oh, they are saying that this is.
Yeah, but that's
a
good.
law.
Is
putting people in a corner,
No, but that is owing to our lack of knowledge on what a human right is, though. Surely.
Yeah. But why did he say human right rather than you are allowed to? Have
Because
sex
it
with
is a
your wife?
human right.
Yeah, but why?
That's
would
why
you-
he said
why
it,
would you
because
word it
it's
like
law.
that?
But so then are we attacking like the
judge.
way that he's said this, or where?
No,
where-
I'm
for
merely
the
asking the
story,
question.
For the story, where has the story actually come from? Has it been generated by someone seeing the case and then on Twitter saying
Yeah,
something?
someone
and
came
then
like MP Jess Phillips said stuff about it. It was in the Stylist, which is, it should be everyone's look for how law works. Always look at the Stylist.
They never do lists on animals going into extinction because we're eating them.
No,
miss
they never
all
do.
of the
They never
heavy
do.
hitters.
But that's where the story came from. They were going, and they attacked it, and it was in the Independent, which is basically clickbait at this point. The Independent, and so it went along quickly because it was in a thing, and neither the Independent nor the Stylist went well. What they're talking about is
dig a bit deeper.
human
Let's actually
let's see
use our
what he was
position.
going about, or is this fucking judge? Because we do have judges who will just go along and say, well, this is it, and they're old people and they don't fucking get it, but he wasn't being wrong.
Yeah.
And so, but we see it and we go, well, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So so do you think who's to blame for this? Is it the judge? Is it the publications who do it? Is it the fact that people are too stupid to actually want to learn anything?
I put a lot of it at publications. I mean, it's
Well, I
sad
don't know,
that some
'cause-
of that if it comes from an issue from Twitter, like there's an awful lot of twats on Twitter, so it's hard to. They can't legislate for them. It's more like if you're going to take a story from Twitter and then you're going to give that to an even wider audience.
Yeah.
If you're a journalist, then I think you've got a certain responsibility to actually look a little bit below that, rather than going right. This is I've got another byline. Blah, blah, blah.
I think that story is a perfect example of the. I think we are now eager as what is eager now to trap something and catch somebody out and trap them and say you should.
Like if someone says that Nazis are pleasant.
You shouldn't have said that. Yeah, well, I'll deal with that.
Yeah, he's got friends.
Right.
Maybe like having a photo taken, mate.
Although we haven't solved it, we are ending here.
Okay.
So do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, I've got this meeting. It's a little alternative, a little sexy.
Do you have a pillowcase that you don't like using? Cut some holes in it. Come with us.
He's doing a comp show, the Grand Wizards fans.
So
The one thing I would.
Do you have anything to plug?
No, not really.
No.
Not at this time.
You?
Not at this time.
So doing a show in Brighton for Brighton Fringe, 24th to the 27th of May at Temple Bar, called Family Values with Gary Knightley, a previous guest on this podcast, I believe.
Huge fan.
And in Edinburgh, doing 13th to the 25th at the Fancy Room in the Caves, doing a little show called Chicken Box Pencil Case. And of course, every Monday is Untapped Comedy in Upper Street, which people should definitely come to.
And we're both
it's
there.
a wonderful time.
Yeah, we're both there on
We're both
Monday,
this
so
Monday, yeah.
it's lots of fun. To finish, final piece of news is Britain's service sector shrank last month over Brexit uncertainties. This is the PMI, which is the Purchase Management Index. It read at 48.9 in March, from 51.3 in February. Basically, with the PMI, if you do keep an eye on it, anything under 50, contraction, anything over 50 is doing well. That's what we'd like to see, is a bit of growth. So it's all going shit. Don't forget, you can find my stuff ashleyhaden.bandcamp.com, and also my previous show, We All Die Cunts, on Next Up. Thank you, and good night. Thanks to the guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Done.